Sport's pretty tough these days because of all things, the pressure and expectation from parents and others. We're constantly judged, whether it's through social media, our peers. Actually playing sport is a real challenge now.
Everyone wants the best out of their child, of course we do. We want them to do as well as they can. Sometimes the, emotion gets a bit too much for some parents.
What we're seeing out there in our communities is that there is a huge decrease in participation numbers. We're getting kids disengaged in sport, and this comes back to their experiences that they've had with either the coach, parents putting extra pressure on them, or not giving them enough support. What we're starting to hear from them are some pretty horrific stories around kids being told that they are the worst one on their team and that their team lost because of them.
I would watch young kids come across the line in second or third, and they've come across with a smile on their face. They're stoked, and then they go back to their parents' tent and bikes were thrown from parents, or day's done, let's go home now.
I recall opposition parents being quite loud and vocal, walking up and down the sideline, following the action, screaming at the kids what to do and how to do it.
At that age, really, how competitive can we be? It's where we're starting to learn how to play things. It might be someone's first game.
Most weekends I would hear sideline comments, sometimes aimed at me and sometimes aimed at my teammates, like any variation of insult that you can think of probably. I've also seen parents passing comment against their own child or their child's teammates that causes players to be anxious about playing. Players have actually asked their parents to not watch them anymore, that they don't want them there when they're playing.
Go to a tournament where there's 5 games and a player only gets 2 quarters.
I had a comment about me saying that why was she on? She's not good enough to be on. She should have been taken off. Why is she in the team? They have no right. They're not where I am, and they probably can't do exactly what I'm doing.
These stories are all happening right now in our community, happening in the Waikato. We're not isolated. It's happening nationwide, but these ones that we're hearing today are from our own backyard. Those messages really have a massive impact on our young players as to whether they stay engaged, which I think is a really big thing to put on an adult, let alone a child.
As a player, if I get abused, one of my first reactions is often confusion. It's sort of like, who are you? Who are you to yell out at me while I'm out here trying to play football? When you hear someone yell something at you, you feel it to the pit of your stomach.
It affects me like it would affect a player. It ruins the experience for me. I probably don't want to go back next weekend to that rugby ground or support that team because I know that there's negative sideline behaviour.
More than people realise, it affects the performance in the later years. Whatever's been bred from you in a young kid has massive effects without you realising on what happens later on in your sporting career and in life.
A 10-year-old can be tiny at 10, and by the time they finish at 16 or 18, they can be over 6 foot. Why are we telling them that they can't play particular positions or particular sports because of the size that they are now? We should be looking to give opportunities in different formats that still encourage them to grow a passion for that sport.
I want to go along and see a good game of rugby, and that to me is the kids just playing and having heaps of fun, good positive sideline, and the referee able to do his or her job.
I really just want to hear words of encouragement from our supporters. Tell the players how much you enjoy watching them play.
Make a big deal out of the things that they did really well, and then ask a question of what did you learn today that can help you better tomorrow.
I think they like to hear encouragement, not just themselves, but for everybody.
I love it when you hear good stuff, mate, next job, carry on, keep your head up. A lot of us, we tend to count the tackles missed, as opposed to we can turn that into a positive and count the tackles made.
So I think we need to remember that as supporters, really put our support hat on, as opposed to our coach hat, angry mum or dad or brother or sister hat on.
A whole lot of smiles would be great instead of frowns on the sideline. That's not what your kids want to see.
There's nothing more heartwarming than seeing a team that is collectively there for one another. Everybody matters and everyone counts.
For me, sport is about fun. It's the only reason I do it. And as coaches and parents, we have a big part to play in that. If we can just create that fun environment, it doesn't matter win or lose, we'll come back to training.
Key message for me is keeping the kids at the forefront of our mind of all our decisions and really reflect as to whether their needs are being met and how it impacts them.
Whether the referee made the right decision or the wrong decision, in that moment, how do you respond and what example are you setting for your child?
We have a responsibility as parents and supporters to keep players in the game, and therefore they can develop those life skills that sport and rugby offers.